Hello friends, my name is Brandee and this is a guide or a quick video how to properly play the DP Mystic. I mean, yeah, it's not the most popular build and also not the very nicest build towards other, but for me personally it's a lot of fun and definitely try that one out. It's very effective in large scale, and most people don't effectively know how to counter this build. So anyway, I mean, let's get just right into the skills that we have that we might use with the Mystic within fights. I will not explain specifically every single one. I will just go to the important ones, which means Heavy Fist is not important. Fist of True is not that important. Soul Basher also, I locked it. It's not necessarily needed. Triple Flying Kick is important that you max this out to at least the fifth skill, the fifth level, so that you get the evasion rate. And also you can skill the Nature's Wrath with it, which is also important. I'll explain that one later. I've locked Adamantine for certain reasons because of button inputs when I go for example, a Wave Orb. One of the core skills that you have to use, Mass Destruction, is full lingering super armor, a 5-second cooldown, and does also stun people, so it's the first protected CC that you use more often. Ankle Hook and Martial Diva, I don't know. I've locked those two because they're not necessarily needed in this build. Thunder Pound, I've leveled this one to the max. You can also level this to level 4, which is also almost the same effect in a DP build, but if you have the skill points, you can of course choose the absolute version as well. Also skill chain, shackling chain, that you get the evasion rate minus. Flow, death, and so this is all unnecessary for the DP build. You don't need them. They're probably used in some AP builds for the Mystic. Also goes for Somersault. I did not lock this one. If you need a quick CC, for example, it's also usable from Awakening. So you can use this one, but I did not skill it out. I mean, the cooldown would decrease, but it doesn't make that much of a difference. Hidden Claw is more of a tech because it's another iframe just for a short period of time. You can use this one as well. Also usable when used with Awakening. Also, all of the follow-ups are not necessarily needed, so you don't have to skill them. Fist Fury, same with Hidden Claw. It's a tech, but if I've locked this one because it's just not that much needed. I don't see any use in this one. I mean, it has a CC, but what do you want to do with this? Twisted Collision depends on. You can max this one out because of the cooldown. It's a good CC, in my opinion. And also has a good bunch of follow-ups, which means you can get certain levels of platforms that you might not want to reach with certain characters, but the Mystic has the ability to reach those platforms pretty easily with this one. For example, Flow, Fatal Smash, and Strike Through both are the extenders when you use right click, which means you can reach further platforms with it, while you have a Landslide and Skyhammer, which is Q, left click F, where you can reach higher monuments of buildings. For example, let's test it out really quick, so just that you can get a little bit of insight. I mean, I will use Q, right click, which is this one. Has a decent range. I could probably, from this distance right here, I could probably reach this one there, if I would not be that stupid. But you see what I mean. You can definitely climb a lot of castles with it. I've also managed to climb castles like Medaya by myself, also like Calpheon. Valencia also has a nice spot where you can do that, but probably I will add that one in another video. Same goes for the Q, left click F, which is meant for heights. I will just, hold on. Can I even reach that one? Seems like there's an invincible barrier over there, so this is what, that explains a lot why I cannot reach that height over there. Yeah, I think they probably made it an invincible wall right there. But basically what this skill does is that you reach hide places. Let's see if I can show you this one. If I do Q, like this. Do you see that? I mean, I've reached this one. Other characters could not reach it. Maybe Ninja Kuno can do that, and I think Striker can do it as well, but I don't know. But yeah, anyway, that was a quick guide to that one. Elbow Edge, Flow, Rip Crusher, and Tornado Kick also not usable for the DP build, so lock those. Also goes for Sweeping Kick. I locked this one as well. I don't know why I have it unlocked though. Also not needed. Roaring Tiger simply for the fact that it's a knockdown. It's a HP recovery move upon use. That means you don't have to hit people with it. And you have Rage Hammer, which is a protected CC as well. Also put on add-ons on this one. I have Defense and Evasion, basically defensive add-ons. And has an 8-second cooldown. Also would do a lot of damage if you had an AP build. So the first one, the first iframes is first Flash Step, which is invincible upon use, which means it's not lingering. Keep that in mind. And also is only iframe in the first use. It has a 4-second cooldown, but it does also consume your shards when you use it on the cooldown. But it has only super armor. Also keep in mind when using it in large scale, could be that your moves kinda unsync a bit, which means you can be CC'd between those flash steps since they're not lingering, which is kind of sad though. And I hope they will eventually fix this one. Also, the same thing with Silent Step. It is also fully iframed. They made this one, I think, like 4 months ago, where this one basically was just an iframe when you were in the air, and the rest was unprotected, which was very risky to use it. But they changed it to full iframe, which is pretty nice. But also not lingering, so keep that in mind. The normal evasion lock it's unnecessarily. Scissor Kick is your third protected CC, 6-second cooldown, cannot be used in Awakening stance, and is super armor, which is pretty good. Wolf's Frenzy, I rarely use it because it's just unprotected between those teleports that you have when you use it. But this, I see this one useful on Siege when you try to get upon castles. I mean, it's the same way when Valkyries try to ultimate people upon walls. And Wolf's Frenzy does the same when you have your crosshair on an opponent and it is marked as red. You can use this one and you basically teleport on that wall easily. So you can try to infiltrate those people that are upon the wall. Crouching Wolf, also the third iframe that I use very often. It's pretty good because it has super armor while triggering, gives you attack speed. Also use it to evade people, because simply the third iframe, you can use it whenever you want, which basically means after every skill I can press this one, I can press spacebar, it's full super armor, and I can press backwards any single time I want, which means it's also a kinda reactive iframe that you can use to basically engage two people and grab them. For example, it's just a thing that you can use, right? Okay, Binding, this is the grab. I don't have much to say about that one. It's also knockdown. Yeah, Infinite Mastery, of course. Skill is 1 out. Howling Wolf, Mountain Area gives DP. Rage Absorption, not necessarily needed on a DP build. Straight to the Awakening, we have our Awakening buffs. I lost the words right here. Pretty defensive, HP recovery 500, DP plus 20, attack speed and all resistance. Pretty defensive and very useful on the Mystic. Tranquility regenerates your WP and also your martial arts shards, which gives you 3 multiple dashes again. Sets the training, not necessarily needed something to say about this. Infinite Fortitude is your own protected area, and it does not count to the protected area from Valkyries and Wizards and Witches. That basically means we have this new cooldown when Witches and Wizards or Valkyries use their protected area, and you get a 1-minute cooldown where you cannot receive protected area, unless it's your own Infinite Fortitude, which gives you protected area for yourself. It does not count to that cooldown. Tidal Burst depends on. It's a quick CC, it's a stiffness, but I did not skill this one. I don't see any big use on this. Probably a good damage move when you use it on an AP Mystic. Spiral Tornado is locked for a reason. That's because of the Scissor Kick, because that one would trigger anytime when you would use it with the command forward F. That's why I locked Spiral Tornado and put it on a hotbar, right? Also with this one, it's very effective because it is usually not protected, but I put on Core Spiral Tornado. Basically because it's first a 5-second cooldown, which makes it a good usable protected CC again. Second thing is, if you use it against classes that don't have an SA guard and super armor protection, this one goes through frontal guard, and if you get with that one behind enemies or through enemies, it has an instant knockdown. And it's basically explains itself. It just pierces through people and CC them with a knockdown. And everyone knows knockdowns are currently the strongest CC in game, which also makes them pretty effective on the Mystic, right? Also defensive skill add-ons, as you can see. I put on defense and evasion on this one as well, because I use it very often. I basically put it in a regular CC SA rotation. Rapid Stream also very useful in my opinion. It also gives the evasion rate upon use plus 9% for 10 seconds. This move alone basically makes people... how should I explain it? You basically mark people with it and give them a lot of debuffs. This skill alone has on its maximum level minus 20 DP for 20 seconds. And this is why I decided to put on the skill add-ons as well. Minus DP 15 for 10 seconds and minus evasion 4% for 10 seconds. So what this one does basically is that you mark people that are pretty strong, or if they try to bomb you, whatever. It just basically reduces their DP by a lot. So that's why I've chosen to put on a skill add-on on this one. I also regularly use it just to pump up my evasion, as already mentioned. Sea Burial, questionable move. Also pretty useful just to move. I mean, it's full super armor and has an extender, which does a down smash, by the way. And I've also put on attack and casting speed and minus accuracy on it. Minus accuracy can be very strong in the current meta, because most of the people are running evasion builds. And it's also a bit transferring towards damage reduction builds again, but I've chosen to put on accuracy minus on this one. Also, I would not necessarily recommend to lock it, but I've put it on the hotbar for a reason, because if you use this move with 3 martial art shards, it consumes them all, and it would usually increase your damage with just, well, DP Mystic not necessarily needed. So yeah, use it with a hotbind, you won't consume the shards. Pretty easy, right? Rising Dragon, you do not have to skill this one, it's just 8-second cooldown. I've put on attack and casting speed on this one as well, minus AP, just to fuck up people's AP. Pretty simple, self-explainable. Wave Orb. This is the crippling move, basically. And yeah, it has 30-second debuff, a 30% debuff for 10 seconds. And I've also put on minus AP and minus attack and casting speed on it, just to cripple people even more with this one. If they get hit by this and the debuffs go through, then they are pretty much fucked. Because every debuff that you apply on someone, it reduces their DPS and it reduces their capability to, well, control their class properly, right? Also another tip, do not skill the flow, because this one does also consume your martial art shards. And you don't want that. You want to keep those shards to move, right? That's pretty important. Dragon Shatter, yeah, it's unprotected, but it's also a knockdown, so be careful using this one. Double flash step is basically the multiple dashes that you have, but it has super armor, but does not consume your shards, and also only usable in the awakening, right? So be careful using that one as well. Hurricane sweep, just simply to increase your HP. Just use them regular because you get the 200 HP upon use. Enhanced Wolf's Frenzy, it's basically the extender from the Wolf's Frenzy that you can use it in the Awakening, but you can also use it in the Pre-Awakening, which is pretty neat. The first important skill, Dragon's Pit, is also one of the 2 debuff skills, applying 30% attack, casting, movement speed. It's basically the full program that the Mystic has for this skill. Also good to combo with the Dragon's Rip, which is your Vacuum. Pretty long duration for a Vacuum, if you ask me. And yeah, it keeps people in places. You can fuck up Musameva, Zerkers, Valkyries, basically all the classes that don't have that much of an iframe. And yeah. Sorry, not a 15 second. It has a 20-second cooldown. I did not get that one. Yeah, as already mentioned with the core, I choose Spiral Tornado because of the easy knockdowns that you can get with this one if it is protected. Skill enhancement, pretty easy. Nature's Wrath, just because it gives a lot of bonuses. Sorry. Has a bound, it's not protected. Keep that in mind, so don't use it for combos or something. Just use it to get a buff rotation up, something like that. You get magic DP, 10 seconds, you get a bit of attack speed, and you also get accuracy rate, which is important, because if you don't know what accuracy rate on DP build does, because you definitely want to apply those debuffs on people. And if those accuracy rates don't proc on people, those debuffs won't apply as well, right? So this is important because this is basically your goal as a mystic. Sorry, as a DP mystic. So basically, accuracy rate is not necessarily important, but definitely needed at some sort of point. Okay. Raging Wildfire. I don't use this. I just skill it because I can, right? So basically, these are the skills that you use as a DP mystic. What I basically do is when you use, I have a quick slotted, is the Nature's Wrath. So basically you get a lot of self buffs with this one, and you get the evasion rate, right? The evasion rate basically gives you a lot of tankiness, which is insane. And this is why I always have to keep it up at some sort of point. I have the feeling if I use this one, if I have this evasion rate and the skill add-on applied, sometimes it feels like double the tankiness than usual, because it's just, if you have enough evasion on your build, it's just so insane, especially on the Mystic, because the Mystic has a passive, which gives also evasion rate. This is why evasion definitely escalates on the Mystic pretty good. Also classes like Sork, Dark Knight, Tamer, they all have a hard time getting you. And also Awakening Wizard. I'm specifically not talking about the Succession Wizard and Witches because they do damage. I'm also recording this on 2021 February, so I don't know if Wizard and Witch damage will get nerfed eventually. But yeah, anyway, if you use this one just to get your evasion rate up, then go. Otherwise, DP Mystic is, in my opinion, very simple to use. It's not that hard, it's just hard to master it, because you definitely have to keep an eye on all your opponents. You don't want to waste time on basically wasting all of your skills on one opponent. Always try to keep an eye on every single one. Try to get your vacuums done properly on multiple people, because this is basically your goal. You want to fuck up people. You want to fuck up most people at the same time, so that you don't use your own person on just one target, right? Yeah, well, basically you have those four protected CCs that you regularly use. You have Mass Destruction, you have the Rage Hammer, and you have the Scissor Kick. And I have them all on this quick slot. Basically, you rotate those three with your newly Spiral Tornado. so that you have 4 protected CCs and you can always rotate them, right? What I also regularly use within battles is just this one, the rapid stream. Sorry, not rapid stream. It's it's the other one. It's oh, it is rapid stream. My apologies. So that you get the evasion rate and fuck up people. What is also important, if you want to engage on people, be careful when using certain skills. You have a lot of options. You can engage with Spiral Tornado in Awakening. You can engage with Wave Orb, which is risky because it's unprotected for a long time, but gives all the necessary debuffs. You can engage with the Vacuum, which is also good. You can engage with a simple grab, if you have solo targets, for example. And from that point forward, it's just rotating SA skills. Also, you have 2 reactive iframes. You have a third one with the Crouching Wolf, which is very important. And, well, there's not much about to say this, right? People don't like this, or at least I would say a lot of people I know don't like this build, because it's so annoying. It's just like more of a CC bot. It's just a lot of durability that she has. And I personally would say you don't need a lot of skill to use this. But you need a lot of skill to get the perspective of how to use it properly on certain people. Because you don't really notice when you fuck up with this build because you don't die. But you know when you're effective when you get people to attack you, or you try to at least choose certain people to fuck up, right? So yeah, I can also talk with my build real quick, which is, as you can see, I've put on Han Hooms on Lebur and Muskins because you don't need Jin Vipers on your gloves with this build. Special attack evasion is also important. I've switched the Cobelinos a couple of time ago because someone in the older comments rated me to do so. And I've tested that, and it basically procced pretty well, right? So also keep in mind that special attack evasion will be replaced anytime soon when the new grinding spots come out, where you get these crystals with also 100 HP as a bonus. Precision crystals in the Saga. You can choose to put on Elka crystals as well. They do basically the same with a bit of more accuracy. Rokaba helmet is pretty self-explainable that you put on Jin Harpias. And I've chosen to put on Swiftness Crystal for the movement speed into the costume. So what you also can see in this build is a Tet Militar. Why the Tet Militar? Because it gives simply the most evasion, and you will notice that at a certain level. I'm currently sitting at about, let's see, I mean it's somewhere around 880 evasion when I choose the crystal bonus as well. I've been playing Rosa, Pen Rosa on this build, and it didn't give that much of evasion. So I have sold it, simply as that. With the Bencho necklace, also new grinding spot. There will be another good grinding spot where you can swap this one out for a better one, which gives also evasion, so keep that in mind. Centaur belt, self-explainable. It's an evasion item. The best evasion item that you can probably have on this build. Ethereal earrings also give a lot of evasion. I will definitely try to get these one on Ted as well. Now comes a little bit of a question probably for most people, because I'm still playing the Cadres. If I had the Penhesus, then I would definitely choose to use them. But at the current level that I'm sitting right now, I don't have enough damage reduction. I've tried it out against people from Friendly Guild, and I'm still not tanky enough if I put on the Hesus rings. So what I still need is that I get the Red Nose armor to C10 and then put it to Dead God, basically. And that will probably be enough damage reduction that, yeah, that I can switch these ones out against Hesus rings, right? Yeah, I mean, I did a lot of progress in the last time. I've finally get my Pen Libers, I get my Pen Muskans. The Rokaba helmet I had for a long time already. Definitely, if you want a good evasion helmet, go for the Heath, because Heath gives 2 more hidden damage reduction. And well, on the other hand, I mean, okay, it's a bit of an advantage, right? Yeah, Resplendent Alchemy Stone, self-explainable as well. And that's basically it, I would say, right now. So, if you have questions or some more, I don't know. If you have questions, just ask me. And I would like to thank you for watching, and maybe see you in stream or on Siege or in Red Battlefield. I don't know. But please do not insult people with DP builds. It's I've experienced that a lot of times, and yeah, well, I mean, this is something I want to talk about as well, because some people do not understand why certain people like to run DP builds. The main counter towards DP builds is just that you put on a lot of debuffs on them, right? You cannot put a DP Mystic or another class at the same place as a normal Shy, right? The thing with the Shy is, the Shy counters herself already with being so immobile. She only has the bongos at a useful protected CC, and that's all. So if you want to counter Shy, you just grab her and that's it. But if you want to counter something that is a DP Mystic, or also popular builds on DP are basically Striker, and maybe I wouldn't put Zerka in this one as well, but DP Mystics lately got a lot of popularity. I mean, Sovereign has a lot of DP Mystics, and I think Flex has a DP Mystic as well right now. Shoutouts to you. And I mean, if you want to counter these classes, you just put on DP debuffs. Sorry, not only that. You put on movement and attack speed debuffs on them, because that pretty much immobilizes them and puts away their effectivity. And if you can do reach them as well, then you go for the grab, or you go for something like, I don't know. If you have Witch or Wizard, just put on Chain Lightning. It basically it cripples people. It definitely cripples people. Oh yeah, sorry, Witch and Wizard are also pretty popular DP builds, but you see them rarely right now, because of Succession, Wizard and Witches are just way more effective. But yeah, I think that's all I wanted to say. So I thank everyone for watching, and well, see you later, or eventually on Red Battlefield.